Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of PCs and EVs. I'm not sure how much of this review will get done filming in this location because it is starting to rain again. It's been raining off and on all day. I've had this now for about an hour in my possession. This is the Genesis GV70 Electrified 2023. Thank you again to Genesis of Fairfield for loaning it to me for a little bit. And this is the Seville Silver. I absolutely love the way that this car looks. Let's take a walk around real quick while there's no one else coming by. And it is just a stunning, gorgeous car. I really like what they've done with the GV70 lineup. And the fact that they've electrified one of their most popular selling SUVs. Great idea, Genesis. Now this vehicle rides on the same 800 volt platform, the eGMP platform, that the GV60, Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, and EV6 and EV9 all ride on. This one has 77.4 kilowatt hour battery pack in it, which is the exact same as all but the EV9, which is allegedly going to have a larger battery pack in it. This vehicle has anywhere from 430 to 490 horsepower when you hit the boost button that it has included in it. And $75,000 is about for the top trim, though they can be had in the lower trim for as low as about 65 to 66 from what I'm seeing on Genesis's configurator website. One of the biggest quirks with this vehicle actually is the charge port placement. Instead of being at the rear side like EV6, Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, and the GV60, it actually has one in the front, just like the Genesis G80. One of my favorite stylistic choices that they chose for the electrified Genesis vehicles that are internal combustion engine conversions is the inverted Genesis grille that they have on this vehicle. Normally, it would have the shiny silver on the cross-hatching, and then the rest of it would be an open-air functional grille. But instead, because this doesn't need that much cooling, they've inverted that, which I think just looks extremely nice and extremely luxury and high class. As far as sizing goes, this is the exact same size as their internal combustion engine GV70. It has the same transmission tunnel. However, so we're in the back seat right now, they have trimmed the transmission tunnel at the rear of the vehicle. You do have rear climate. You can even control where you want your air to be flowing. I have it warm in here because I'm cold, because it's only like 45 to 55 degrees out and it's raining. You've got a very spacious rear seating area. You even have let's pull this back. You have a nice sunroof that actually opens. You've got the suede headliner, which is very nice. You have a very driver-oriented front seat set. So you've got a large transmission tunnel, which they've put the gear selector, they've put the knob to select infotainment on, they've put the, the climate right below it, all oriented right at the driver. In this vehicle, you do also have a heads-up display and a 3D digital dash. It has a tri-spoke design on the wheel. So at the bottom you have that boost button. I've been spending some time listening to some tunes on this, and the audio system is excellent. Definitely a step up from what we get in the GV60. And in my brief amount of driving, I will say that it actually handles a little bit nicer than GV60 as well. It has the dual driver memory seats. It still has massaging seats. It's got wireless charging right down here in the cubby right there. So it's got, wireless charger in there, as well as your CarPlay and Android Auto USB ports. You've got 2 USB ports in the rear as well, and if you're in the rear passenger seat, you can move the front passenger seat just with the buttons on the side of it, which is kind of nice. In the rear here, you do get privacy shades for your rear windows. You've got some really, really nice materials in here. Compared to the GV60, there's no indoor cup holders. The only cup holders in the rear here are in the center seat. which I find an interesting decision. Yeah, there's nothing here or anything. So yeah, just something to keep in mind if you're looking into purchasing one of these. And a lot of people who are looking into purchasing a Genesis electric vehicle probably wouldn't be looking into like the Model Y, as this is a step up significantly in quality compared to the Model Y, though the Model Y would have a little bit better of range, especially in the long range variant, and come in at a much lower price tag. The big thing that you're looking for when you want to look at a Genesis, compared to any of the other brands, is material quality. I've found this to be one of the comfiest sets of seats that I've been in, especially for an SUV. Way comfier than our 2020 Model Y, way comfier than our GV60, comfier than the iX I rode in recently, definitely a lot better than the Model X I actually drove recently on the channel as well. Now, as far as legroom goes, there's absolutely plenty in both the front and the back, plenty of headroom as well. And then as far as headroom goes, I've got probably about 2 to 3 inches of headroom. One of the biggest things that I like about this vehicle, the rear seats fold flat. You get about 5 extra cubic feet of cargo room behind the rear seats compared to the Genesis GV60. And the fact that this is a very, very stealthy vehicle compared to a lot of other electric vehicles where it's like screaming at you, such as the iX, hey, I'm an electric vehicle, notice me. Yeah, and the GV60 does that as well, trust me. This is just very stealthy because it looks exactly like, on the outside, that Genesis GV70 internal combustion engine vehicle, actually. Now, as far as driving dynamics and ride quality goes, it's definitely probably about a half a step up from our GV60. The suspension definitely feels a little bit more giving, and it just seems to handle its weight a little bit better than the GV60. I'm not an expert on cars yet. As you guys know, this is probably only like the 5th or 6th car that I've taken a look at. So I don't really know what the term for that is, but it definitely doesn't seem too floaty. It is soft, but not too floaty. It handles itself well. Some other things that I wanted to cover with the Genesis GV70 electric is that because it's on that same 800 volt EGMP platform, this vehicle can do 10 to 80% on a 350 kilowatt capable charger in about 18 minutes. And it'll charge at about a rate of 240 kilowatt peak. That's when the battery's warm, assuming that the station's working properly, a whole bunch of things, but realistically, I've been seeing in my GV60 around 170 kilowatt on a majority of stations that I go to. A lot of the 150 kilowatt stations, I end up getting about 165 on. Other outlets have tested this vehicle in similar conditions from 0% to 100%, and that takes about 45 minutes. Like I said earlier, you get the 30 minutes of free charging with Electrify America, so that's always a nice to have anytime you want a road trip, or even you can use it around town like that. Another thing that's included with the vehicle is actually the vehicle to load adapter. So this vehicle can act as a giant battery bank, and you can pull back power out of the vehicle using a standard wall outlet. It's an adapter that plugs directly into the front charge port. You hit the power button on the adapter itself, and then it's just a powered 120 volt 16 amp outlet. We actually use that with our GV60 to charge our Model Y almost every single night, and it has been extremely reliable. You can also set a minimum charge or a minimum discharge amount so that, hey, I want to make sure that I don't go below 50%. Say if you're running it as like a home backup. Say your power goes out, you run like your, I don't know, you run your fridge on it. You can do all of that. So yeah, I just want to know, guys, let me know down in the comments. For 75 grand, would you pick this? For 66 grand, would you get the model that doesn't have the heads-up display, doesn't have the Nappa leather seats, has just the standard leather, has a fabric headliner instead of the imitation suede? I don't know if it has the sunroof. I'll have to look into that. Now, some of the major upgrades that the Prestige package offers over the Advanced is the fact that the Advanced doesn't come with a heated steering wheel. It doesn't have the heated rear seats, doesn't have the door shades, doesn't have active noise cancellation, which this vehicle does, doesn't have the heads-up display. Yeah. But, I mean, all of that stuff is really nice to have for the $7,000 that the package is. I don't know, it'd be a really tough choice for me. I went with the performance on the GV60 because I wanted all of these things, so I'd probably still end up with the top trim myself. And yes, both do have the sunroof, both trims. And turns out I was wrong. Both of them do have the big front and rear motors, so they both make about 340 kilowatts of power, which is about 429 to 483 horsepower. Both the advanced and prestige models from Genesis on the GV70 Electrified. So yeah, you basically just get the nicer interior, you get the nicer seats, you get the suede headliner, you get the heated front steering wheel, you get the nicer audio, you get the heated rear seats. There's quite a long list of things, but they definitely do make you pay for it. Just pulled up to start charging the GV70 Electrified, and right next to me there's an Ioniq 6. It's a good looking car. Interesting design with the speedtail. You know what? I've hated on it in pictures. I don't think I hate it in real life. But yeah, we're still at like 70%. I preconditioned the battery as much as possible. It is raining pretty hard. Let's see what we start charging it at. Probably nothing too significant. I'll be surprised if we go above 150. But yeah, we plugged in at 69%. Nice. Yeah, about 145 peak there. That's about what I expected. The battery's not fully warm yet. Alright, and that's going to do it for our review of the Genesis G80 Electrified as a standalone review. Upcoming in a few days, we'll have a video comparing it to the GV60. As always, guys, make sure you let me know what you think down in the comments below. Would you choose this? Would you choose a Model Y? What would you choose? And again, big thanks to Genesis of Fairfield for loaning me the vehicle for a day.